My husband of 10 years is currently sitting in a sterile rehabilitation center, attempting to learn how to walk with a prosthetic leg he swore he never wanted. His second family, a secret girlfriend of 2 years, and my deeply traditional mother-in-law, have entirely abandoned him, refusing to cover a single cent of his mounting medical bills or assist with his daily care. He lost his leg, his secret double life, and his dignity, and it is all entirely his own fault. To understand how a devastating motorcycle accident turned into the complete unraveling of a decade-long marriage, we have to go back to the phone call that changed everything. I was in our kitchen making dinner on a Tuesday evening when an unknown number flashed on my screen. A trauma nurse informed me that my husband, William, had been in a severe motorcycle accident. He was at the local hospital, and I needed to get there immediately. I dropped everything, grabbed my keys, and drove in a complete panic. When I arrived, a doctor rushed me into a small, windowless consultation room. He looked exhausted. He explained that William had suffered internal bleeding and significant brain swelling, and they needed to operate immediately to relieve the pressure. I was terrified, nodding along to whatever the doctor was saying, just wanting William to be okay. Then, the consultation room door opened. A woman walked in. She looked to be in her late 20s, holding a half-eaten sandwich. Her eyes were red and swollen from crying. She stopped dead when she saw me. I stared at her, completely confused. "Ma'am, I'm sorry," the doctor said, turning to her. "We are discussing the patient's immediate. I'm here for William," the woman interrupted, her voice shaking but insistent. The doctor looked from her to me. "Who are you?" I asked. She clutched her sandwich tighter. "I'm his girlfriend, Destiny, and I'm his listed emergency contact." The room seemed to tilt. My whole body felt heavy. "That's not possible," I heard myself say. It sounded like someone else was speaking. I had been married to William for 10 years. How could a woman I had never seen before be his emergency contact? "How long have you two been together?" I asked, my voice terrifyingly calm. Destiny wiped her nose. 2 years. She looked at me, defensive. "And who are you?" "I'm his wife." She didn't blink. She didn't look shocked or apologetic. She just stood there. I told her she needed to leave immediately. Destiny let out a bitter laugh and crossed her arms. "I have every right to be here. William loves me." I was reaching for the door to call security when it opened again. My mother-in-law walked in, perfectly put together in pearls and heavy perfume, as if arriving at a dinner party rather than a trauma ward. She saw Destiny. She saw me. Instead of looking surprised or guilty, she simply sighed. "Oh dear," she murmured. "I assumed William had told you both about his situation by now." The doctor, sensing a massive personal conflict brewing, excused himself to take a call, telling us to page him the second we reached a decision regarding the surgery consent forms. I grabbed my mother-in-law by the arm and pulled her into the corner of the room. "You knew," I hissed. "You knew he had a girlfriend?" She patted my hand condescendingly, the way you would comfort a child who had dropped an ice cream cone. "Sweetheart, it is a tradition in our family. The men have always had multiple companions. My husband had 4, not including me. My father-in-law had 6. It is expected." I was repulsed. I told her that she needed to leave and take Destiny with her. They both absolutely refused, insisting they each loved William and had a right to be involved in his medical decisions. Before I could force the issue, the doctor returned. His face was grim. "The situation is worse than we thought," he said bluntly. "William's right leg was crushed beyond saving in the collision. We need to amputate below the knee immediately, or he will die from the spreading infection within days." Destiny instantly started sobbing, wailing that they had to do whatever it took to save him. My mother-in-law nodded firmly, giving the doctor her immediate verbal approval. But I froze. 4 years ago, William and I had watched a documentary about a mountain climber who lost his leg to infection. William had grabbed my hand, looking paler than I had ever seen him. He told me about his grandfather, an amputee who spent his final years miserable, constantly wishing he had died instead of living in pieces. William made me promise, swore me to it, that if anything catastrophic ever happened, I would never allow them to amputate his leg. He was adamant. Wait, I told the doctor. Are there any other options? Experimental treatments? Anything besides amputation? My mother-in-law snapped her head toward me. Other options? He will die. Destiny stopped crying and glared at me with pure hatred. You're trying to kill him because you just found out about us. You're jealous. I tried to explain. I told them about his grandfather, about the promise he forced me to make. I said it was what William explicitly wanted, and my current boiling fury over his infidelity had absolutely nothing to do with it. They didn't care. My mother-in-law immediately demanded an emergency hospital ethics board meeting to have my medical power of attorney revoked. 2 hours later, I sat in a sterile hospital conference room facing 5 board members. My mother-in-law and Destiny sat opposite me, presenting a united front against the scorned wife. My mother-in-law spoke first, pointing an accusatory finger at me. This woman just discovered my son has a separate personal life, and now she wants to let him die out of spite. Destiny chimed in, tears streaming perfectly down her face. William loves life more than anyone I know. He would never choose to die. She's lying because she wants revenge. The board members turned to me. They asked if I had any proof of this conversation, a living will, or a written directive. I don't, I admitted, my voice cracking. I know exactly how this looks. I just found out my husband has been cheating on me for 2 years, and apparently, his family knew and supported it. Yes, I hate him right now, but that does not change what he specifically asked me to do. My mother-in-law slammed her hand on the table. She just admitted she hates him. How can you possibly let her make this decision? The board deliberated for 15 minutes. When they returned, they cited the lack of written documentation and the immediate threat to his life. They revoked my sole decision-making power and granted consent for the surgery, based on the mother-in-law's authorization. I didn't fight it anymore. I walked out of the hospital, drove home, and started packing. The next morning, a nurse called to inform me William was awake and asking for me. I didn't want to go, but I needed closure. I walked into his recovery room. He looked pale and small in the hospital bed, but his eyes were sharp and furious when he saw me. "Where's my leg?" his voice cracked. "I trusted you." Before I could even respond, the door swung open. Destiny rushed in, holding a massive bouquet of red roses, closely followed by my mother-in-law. William looked from me, to Destiny, to his mother. The reality of the situation clearly hadn't fully registered in his post-surgical haze. "William," I said calmly, standing at the foot of his bed. "I told them what you wanted. I tried to stop the amputation. But Destiny and your mother demanded an ethics board hearing and had my power of attorney revoked so they could authorize the surgery." The color drained from his already pale face. He looked at his mother. "You did what?" "We saved your life, darling," she cooed, oblivious to his horror. Destiny moved to hold his hand. "We couldn't let her kill you just because she was mad about us." William pulled his hand away from Destiny as if she had burned him. He stared at the empty space under the blanket where his leg used to be. The realization of what had happened and who had caused it settled over him. "Get out," he whispered to them. "William, sweetie," his mother started. "Get out," he screamed, his monitor beeping wildly. They scrambled out of the room, looking shocked and offended. I stood there for a moment, watching the man I had loved for 10 years realize that the secret life he built had completely destroyed the one thing he feared losing the most. "Sarah," he rasped, looking at me with tears in his eyes. "Please." "I filed for divorce this morning, William," I said, my voice steady. "Your mother and your girlfriend are in charge of your care now. They made the decision. They can deal with the consequences." I turned and walked out of the room. I never went back. During the divorce proceedings, I learned that Destiny left him 3 weeks into his rehabilitation when she realized she would have to empty bedpans and help him bathe. His traditional mother, accustomed to being served rather than serving, quickly hired a cheap, underqualified home aide and rarely visits. I kept the house, the savings, and my peace of mind. He kept his tradition.